All right, Great Rising family, what's going on? What's going on? I got these wonderful products in front of me right here, the phytoplankton and sea moss. Phytoplankton and sea moss. And pay attention to these two. Okay. Remember these two. Because I'm gonna show you guys later. I'm gonna show you guys later. Okay, why I brought these two to the show. All right. We're gonna talk about that. But what we're gonna talk about is today is why do we eat seafood? That's what we're gonna talk about today. And I'm gonna get right into it because I was supposed to go live at 4:30 p.m. but I can't do it. I can't hold off this information any longer. And I got things to do. So I want to get it out of the way. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about why do we eat seafood. All right. Why do we eat seafood? We eat seafood for a particular reason. And right off the rip, what I'm gonna do with you guys, I'm not even gonna waste no time. Share this video. I'm not gonna waste no time. Okay. What we gonna do is I'm gonna just straight up share my screen. So we gonna get right into it. So why do we eat seafood? We eat seafood for certain reasons. Now I know it may be for certain nutritional values, right? But primarily, okay, predominantly, we eat seafood for this boy right here, okay? Omega-3, omega-3 fatty acid. This is the reason why we eat the seafood, because seafood is known to be, especially fish, is known to be what? Brain food. That's the reason for it. So I'm gonna be fair with y'all. I'm gonna scroll down. And we're gonna look at some of the other reasons, right? So we got the calories, the fat, right? Sodium levels is very high, which that right there, it's a little scary, it's a little spooky when you see sodium at 229 milligrams. So you got sugar, well, there's no sugar in it. You got carbs, you got protein. But let's scroll down a little further, right? So you got the carbs, you got the fats, you got the protein. But it's one fat in particular for the reason why we eat this. Okay. And this is this boy right here. That boy right there. You see that? What I highlighted? Omega-3, eicosapentaenoic acid. Eicosapentaenoic acid. That's the main reason why we eat seafood, fish in particular. Okay. This is the reason why. Now you have the protein. You can throw that in there. Vitamins and minerals may be another factor. Okay. Promotes heart health and things of that nature, right? We're going to let y'all go. So listen, I'm being fair with y'all. This is the reason for it. Okay. So aside from the nutrient content, aside from what you can get from the seafood, okay, the omega-3 is the main reason. And we're going to touch up on that. And I'm going to show y'all the reason why you really don't need it. You really don't need it. And I'm going to show you the reason. Now, another reason why we eat the food is because of the traditional way of doing things, okay? Most people eat fish because that's been a traditional way of doing things, especially in the Caribbean, especially in the island. You right by that water, you want your shrimp, your crab, your lobster, so forth and so on. Okay. And in some parts of the ocean, right, some parts of that water, the fish is a little cleaner. It's definitely a little cleaner, but nevertheless, you feel me? It's a lot of things in the fish. We're gonna get into it. It's a lot of things in the seafood. We're gonna get into it. So you got the nutritional value that you can get from seafood. You got the traditional way of doing things, and then we got trends. A lot of people follow trends. So a lot of people follow trends, and they'll see something on social media, everybody doing it, so everybody start eating it. So this is why you see so many different photos and pictures and videos of people, eating the seafood with corn, potatoes, and all this other stuff. And that's another story because the corn is GMO'd anyways. Okay, it has a toxin inside to prevent the corn from being eaten by insects and stuff. So it has an intoxicide inside of it, but that's another story. So that's another reason why we eat it. So again, so let's run down that. So you got the nutritional value, you got the traditional way of doing things, and then you got the trending. Okay, a lot of people follow trends, and a lot of people just want to do it for that particular reason. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. Okay, that occurs. The problem is that when you think about the fish, a lot of restaurants, okay, when they are dealing with seafood, when they're serving seafood, one thing you have to take into consideration is this: a lot of seafood has MSG. The seasonings they use the MSG for the seasoning because and it enhances the flavor. But at the same time that it enhances the flavor, it also does something to you. Okay, MSG is toxic and it comes in so many different names. That's one thing that you really want to understand and get that understood. Okay, now what the MSG does in short term, okay, basic, this is what it basically do. You have a hormone that's called leptin. You have a hormone that's called leptin, and what the leptin hormone is for is a hormone that tells your body when you're satisfied. Okay, you done ate enough. All right. Remember, hormones are instructions. Hormones tell the body what to do, how to perform, and things of that nature. That's what it is. Hormones are instructions. So what the MSG does is take this leptin, a hormone, and tell the leptin hormone to take the day off, go on vacation. I got this. Okay. So when you eat the seafood that's seasoning with the MSG, it takes the leptin hormone and tells it has the day off. I'm in control now. Don't worry about it. So what happens in turn is you no longer have that hormone that tells you that you're full. So it makes you eat more than what you actually should be eating. This is the number one case for seafood. Okay, I mean for Chinese food. This is why Chinese food make you do that. You can be full, but you don't feel like you're full, so you keep eating more. That's because the MSG take control over the leptin hormone, which the leptin hormone is what regulates your satiation. Okay, it takes that away, hijacks it, and tell it to have the day off, and then you eat more, and then this is how you get the toxins inside you and things of that nature. So that's what happens with the MSG. Okay, that's used in the seafood. That's one. Now another thing is the mercury. Okay, the mercury is inside of the food. Okay, it's inside of the seafood, and mercury is highly toxic. Understand this, is highly toxic. Now, what we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna show you guys better than I can tell you guys. And share this video. I'm gonna show you guys better than I can tell you guys. So here's an example of the mercury. Now let's read right here. It say almost all seafood can accumulate mercury and methyl mercury, highly toxic elements that can cause severe damage to the nervous system. The quantity of these substances varies widely depending on the type of animal. Okay. It therefore makes sense to choose these seafoods with a minimum concentration of mercury, bearing in mind that children and pregnant or breastfeeding women are particularly vulnerable. Very important. Highlight that. Okay. Remember that. Remember that pregnant and breastfeeding women, all right, and children are particularly more vulnerable. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this image. So basically, they tell you this is from the EPA and the FDA. All right, and I'm gonna prove this. So it says right here, safe to eat 2 to 3 times, but it's telling you the amount of mercury that's inside of this seafood. So let's look at some of the seafoods that Black people eat. Okay, because when I talk, I really talk for my people. So let's see if y'all can agree with me on these different type of seafood. So you got shrimp, it's 0.9. Now, when they looking at this, take into consideration, they are talking about mercury concentration, parts per million. All right. That's another thing that you want to highlight. Mercury concentrations, part per million, which is very important because concentrate is the extraction of a particular product, okay, in itself. It's concentrated. So like juices, when you got a juice that's concentrated, that means they then remove the water and it's just that product, that substance alone, nothing else. Okay. So this is very important to understand. So I think y'all can agree with me on some of these. So shrimp, we eat it, 0.9, okay, of mercury inside of it. Let's deal with tilapia. Some of us still eat tilapia that has 0.13 mercury inside of it. Salmon, we eat salmon that has 0.22 mercury inside of it, okay? Let's go down. We don't really eat mackerels and stuff like that. Calamari, right? Calamari, 0.23. What else? We got crab. Crab has what? 0.65. What else do we have? Lobster. Lobster has 0.93. And then we got tuna, 0.144. And let's see what else that we eat. We eat a lot of tuna. We eat tuna, okay? Black people eat tuna, right? So you can see right there, it got 0.354. And then some of us do eat big eye tunas, and it's telling you. So basically what they're telling you is this. The FDA is telling you, like, okay, look, the FDA and EPA is telling you this is safe to eat 2 to 3 times a week. This is eat no more than once a week, right? And not recommended to eat. So they're giving it to you like that, all right? And this is going to make sense later on. Now, I'm going to get back to that, and I'm going to tell you why they have it like this, to where they're telling you it's safe to eat 2 to 3 times a week, and then it's eat no more than once a week, and then not recommended to eat. I'm going to tell you the reason why they do that. But let's move forward right quick. We're going to get back to that. I promise you. Right? So let's deal with how the mercury gets inside of the fish. Let's deal with that. So let's take this image for example, right? Let's take this image for example. So you got a volcano, you got the coral plant. And before I explain this, and y'all can look at it while I'm explaining that, this is why it's very important, you know, for certain waters, for you to be drinking certain waters, because certain waters that go through the aquifers, right? Understanding certain waters that go through an aquifer, they're not exposed to industrial environments like the volcano, like the coral plant, and mines and things of that nature. So being that they're not exposed through from the industrial environments and things of that nature, and the water goes through an aquifer, this would deem the water to be more clean. So this is why you want to take your time out to do your research and search to find out where your water that you're drinking is coming from, because it can be contaminated. Now, another thing is this: a lot of waters that come from beverage companies, when you see it says purified, when you see it says filtered, basically what they're doing is they're putting chemicals in the water because they know it has traces of toxins in it, okay, and chemicals in it. So they're putting chemicals in the water to dissolve the actual chemicals that's present in the water. So it's a chemical used to get rid of another chemical, if that makes sense. But that's how they do it. So you really want to be careful with your water, you know, make sure it's fluoride free, and you know, it's not that many chemicals inside the water. So you want to do your research by looking for water that goes through an aquifer, right? So that's very important. So this is how the mercury gets inside the fish. From the volcano, you see at the top, right? It's showing a little smoke. Okay, the mercury, basically, it gets in the atmosphere. Once it gets in the atmosphere, what goes up must come down. You agree, right? Condensation, you agree? So what goes up must come down. Now this mercury from the mine, okay, also from the air, from the mine, it gets inside the water. It gets inside the water, and then it gets inside of the krill, okay? It gets inside the krill. Now, let me show you this right quick. Let me show you this, okay? Because a lot of people won't understand it, all right? Let me show you something right quick. Okay, so let me show you. Fish absorb the methyl mercury, okay, from their food, okay, and from water as it passes over their gills. Mercury is tightly bonded to proteins in all fish tissue, including muscle. There is no method, very important to understand, share this video. There is no method of cooking or cleaning fish that will reduce the amount of mercury in a meal. Methyl mercury accumulates as you move up their food chain. Very important to understand. So basically, it's left upon your hydrochloric acid that's in your stomach, okay, and how acidic your stomach is to try to burn off traces or get rid of this mercury inside your system, okay? So that right there you gotta discuss that amongst yourself. You gotta figure that one out yourself. But again, so let's go back to this image. So you got the mercury getting inside the water. You got the krill, okay, it's getting inside. I just explained that how the mercury get inside the krill. And let me point out this too. Y'all gotta understand this. This is why I say we don't need this stuff, because the krill, what they do is they eat this. They eat this. They eat this phytoplankton right here. Okay, they eat the phytoplankton and they eat the fucking sea moss. That's what they eat. Okay, this is gonna make a lot of sense later on, but I just gotta throw that out there. So they eat the sea moss. They eat the phytoplankton. So what happens is the mercury get inside the krill. The krill, right? The krill gets eaten by the salmon, and then the salmon get eaten by the tuna, and then the tuna get eaten by the shark, and then we eat this food. Okay, so this is how the mercury get inside them. Now let me show you another photo, another example, right? See if I can make this bigger. I can make this bigger. So this one says that mercury cycles from Earth to atmosphere to oceans and back to Earth. Okay, and the ocean mercury is converted to monomethyl mercury, a neurotoxin that moves up the food chain and becomes highly concentrated in tuna, swordfish, and other fish that people eat. Okay, mercury is a neurotoxin. Very important to understand. Now let's move from here. I'm gonna show you another example. Okay, this to me is this the best one right here. This is the best one right here because it shows the whole entire process. This is how they get it. Now this is another photo of a man fishing, right? So here you go right here. These little things represents the methyl mercury, right? The man's fishing. Hey, it is what it is. Whatever fish you get, that shit got the mercury in it. It is what it is. So this is how this stuff goes, man. Y'all share this video. All right. So let's back out of it. So again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you cook it, don't matter if you clean it. It ain't, you know, it ain't no cleaning method. It ain't no cooking method that's gonna get rid of this mercury. It's inside the tissue of the fish. Understand that. Now, it's a neurotoxin. Okay. Can mercury poison and cause neurological diseases? Yes, it can. Okay, organic mercury, especially methyl mercury poisoning, causes chronic neurological disease, predominantly affecting the brain. I'll share this video, man. Okay, why do mercury cause brain damage? The brains of children who have died as a result of mercury poisoning show neuron loss in the cerebellum and throughout the cerebral cortex, all right, or the cerebral cortex. Mercury also appears to affect brain development by preventing neurons from finding their appropriate place in the brain, okay? And if you inhale this stuff, it's toxic too. You can inhale it, and guess what? It causes insomnia, memory loss, you know, tumors, all type of stuff. This is what it does. So it's very, very toxic. It's highly toxic. So you got it being a neuron, all right, a neuron disease, right? Or it create diseases with the neurological system, and this is the effects of it. Now, when it comes to the mercury, when it comes to the regulation of the mercury, when it comes to the safety of the mercury inside the fish, this is very important to understand. Okay, the FDA and the EPA, okay, do not get in the way of this stuff. Very important to understand. But before I go on to that, let me read this right here. So this is a company called Singapore Food Agency, okay, and they do the regulates. They regulate seafood being imported. Now, at the bottom right here, it says this. It says, the levels of mercury detected in seafood and seafood products. Okay, hold on, I'm sorry, y'all. Products sold in SG are within safe limits. SG food regulations state that all seafood and seafood products sold in SG cannot contain more than 0.5 ppm, okay, parts per million. So like I showed y'all in the photo, right? Remember I showed y'all in the photo that these fishes, parts per million at the bottom right here, where it say mercury concentration, parts per million, these seafood, the seafood animals or whatever, right? They have different amounts, okay, of mercury in them. But this company, right? This company is saying, hold on, let me go back to it. So this company is saying that that the seafood and seafood products sold in SG cannot contain more than the 0.5 ppm, right, parts per million. So just by going off that right there, this let you know, like, okay, well, guess what? Anything after a scallop, anything after a scallop, it should be banned. It shouldn't be able to be on your plate, right? It shouldn't be in your food in your stores, right? Because everything after that is 0.9, 0.12. So that right there is crazy within itself. But I'm gonna tell you why it's like that. Because it says right here, SFA regularly samples and tests imported food, including seafood, upon their arrival in SG to check if they fulfill the SFA's safety standards. So basically what they're saying is that any seafood that's imported from another country, okay, it cannot have more than 0.5, okay, 0.5 parts per million of mercury inside of it. All right. So when you take that into consideration, then you got to ask yourself, okay, well, what about the seafood that's derived from right here with the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean that surrounds the United States? Okay. What about the seafood that isn't imported? So this is the reason why the EPA and the FDA, okay, this is the reason why they don't get into it. That's not what they do. Okay. So the fish that come directly from the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, okay, is different than the fish that's being, or the seafood that's being imported from one country to another country. It's regulations on that shit. Okay. They ain't letting more than 5.5 mercury inside the seafood come over here. But it's not the same over here. It's not the same over here. Now, let me tell you something. The reason why it's like that is because y'all have to understand something. The FDA do not get involved with certain things unless it's dealing with the drugs. Unless it's dealing with drugs, they don't really get into it. Okay, when it comes to supplements, when it comes to minerals and things of that nature, they leave their responsibility up to the manufacturer companies. Very important to understand. And the reason why I can tell you this, and the proof for it is in the 90s. I don't know if many people remember this, but when it was an epidemic that took place with the L-tryptophan. Now, the L-tryptophan is an amino acid. Okay, so it's not in the category of drugs. So what happened was it was the scientists in Japan, okay, by the name of what his name was, Downey, what his name was, Ginkgo. All right, Ginkgo. So Ginkgo, what he did was he took a certain strand, okay, he took a certain strand of the L-tryptophan, and what he did was it was contaminated with a GMO. So it was a GMO bacteria, okay, that he had with this strand, and that strand had the GMO bacteria in it. Okay, so what he did was, a lot of times what they would do, they would use certain GMOs to, produce more yields, higher yields, and things of that nature. But what he did not know was, he did not know that this particular strand that he had genetically engineered with this bacteria, what it did was it increased the contaminants. It can increase the contaminants. In other words, it increased the toxicity level. Okay, and what they would use in this process is what they call carbon filters. So the carbon filters are supposed to make sure that 98% of the time, okay, 98% of the time, the carbon filters will filter out any toxins and any contaminants. So this GMO strand, what it did was the GMO strand increased the contaminants way more. Okay, it increased it way higher. So it was so much toxins inside the damn L-tryptophan that the carbon filters couldn't filter out all of it. Okay, so when they were supposed to increase the carbon filters, they didn't do it. So by that not happening, the contaminants, the toxins inside this L-tryptophan was 10 times much more. But remember, the carbon filters are supposed to filter out 98% of the contaminants or the toxins. So this didn't happen. So when the L-tryptophan went out on the market, guess what? People started taking the L-tryptophan, and L-tryptophan is for what? It's for your serotonin, all right? Because serotonin is a precursor to melatonin. So if you're taking a drug that helps with your serotonin, what happens simultaneously is that you will be helping your melatonin, and your melatonin is for you to sleep. So it's for people who were dealing with insomnia, sleeping disorders, and things of that nature. So what happened was the L-tryptophan, once it hit the market, like real soon, like real quick, it popped off where people was actually, it was reported cases of this stuff. So people was getting sick, like I'm talking like dog sick. Okay. It was one lady that they said the lady was so sick that it would take her 2 minutes just to turn to her side because she was enduring so much pain, okay, that she couldn't even move. One dude, his legs got so big that they started the sores, it would create sores, and the sores would just bust and they would squirt out water. Like it was crazy. He lost his job, he lost his family and everything because of it. So the cases were so severe that they were trying to figure out what was going on. So what they did was the FDA then got into it. So this is what the FDA do. The FDA would regulate certain drugs. This is very important to understand. So the FDA would regulate certain drugs. But guess what? If they need a drug that they want, they will get that shit approved. Okay? They will ban some drugs and they will approve some drugs. And how? I can show you, I can tell you the proof of that. So in the case of HIV and AIDS, the drug AZT was banned, okay, because they used to use it for cancer patients. So the ideal for the cancer patients was to stop the abnormal cell growth, because that's what happens when you get cancer. You get abnormal cell growth and you cannot stop the cell growth. Like it just keeps spreading and spreading, it's multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. So what they think that the AZT will do, it would kill the cells, right? The abnormal cell growth, the multiplying of the cells. But the thing is, the AZT didn't differentiate between the good cells and the bad cells. So it started killing all the cells. So they was like, yo, we can't use this drug. We can't use this drug. So what they did was they took it off the shelf, and then when HIV and AIDS came, for some particular reason, which it didn't make no goddamn sense, they brought the fucking drug right back, the AZT, right, the goddamn back. And it did nothing but make matters worse. That's all it did. So the FDA, they would disapprove a drug, they would ban a drug, and then they will reapprove the drug if it fits their agenda, okay? But you got to remember, this is another story, another topic, but HIV and AIDS were part of population control, okay, predominantly for Black people. And whoever else, got into the mix of that shit, they died too. But you got to remember, that's what it was for. So the AZT, like it's a lot on the AZT. But I'm just giving y'all the example to show you, like, the FDA is not your friend. They're not your friend. They sit up here and make it seem like they are, but they're not. Okay. So the FDA will approve certain drugs and they'll disapprove drug if it goes with, their agenda. If it goes with their agenda, they'll approve it. Okay. If it doesn't go with their agenda, if it's something light, then they'll disapprove it. But they do not get into the whole concept of supplements, minerals, vitamins and things of that nature. They don't deal with that. Okay, so again, so with the L-tryptophan, what happened was it was so many cases of it, and people were just dying and things of that nature, and it just hurt severely. What they did was they stepped in. They did a recall. The FDA did a recall on it. So when they did a recall on it, basically what they did was they said, okay, look, we gotta stop this drug for a little minute. So they lowered, they went about it in the way of the doses, the amounts. So at 1,500 milligrams, okay, it was deemed to be unsafe. So they wouldn't sell it, right? They wouldn't let it be, sold. So they lowered the amount, and it went from 1,500 to 1,000 milligrams. So at 1,000 milligrams, it was safe. So instead of these niggas doing a full investigation on the shit itself, they just say, okay, if it's at 1,000 milligrams, it's safe. 1,500, you can't sell it. So at 1,000 milligrams, guess what? People were still being sick. Say they were still being sick. So at 1,000 milligrams, they went back and they banned it. So L-tryptophan was done. Now remember, L-tryptophan, that with that epidemic, that's what caused EMS. That is what caused EMS, and to me, I think that's where fibromyalgia come from. Okay, and that whole pandemic. So basically, what I'm saying is this: the FDA do not get involved in certain things until shit hit the fan. If it's not a drug, which mercury isn't. Mercury comes from a rock. Okay, it's part of the periodic table. It's not made, although they can tamper with it, but it is derived from a rock. It comes from the earth, comes from the planet. That's what it is. So since it's not a drug, okay, and in the case with the L-tryptophan, it was not a drug. They do not regulate it, and that's how it goes. Now I'm gonna tell you the reason why they don't regulate it, and all you guys should look this up. Is because of this, the Proxmire, all right, the Proxmire Amendment. The Proxmire Amendment in 1973 basically it basically said that the FDA does not really have to monitor and regulate any minerals, right? Any minerals, supplementations is all up to the manufacturer companies. So when you going to get these supplements and stuff like that, you got to be very careful because the FDA is not in control of that. They're not dealing with that. They only jump in when shit hits the fan. Very important to understand. This is how this shit goes. So you over here taking these supplements and vitamins and things of that nature, okay? And these manufacturing companies are telling you that is straight, is good to use, and your ass something happened to you. Guess what? They're not getting involved with that. They're not responsible for that. It's on you. Okay. And it's going to make a lot of sense a little later. So you need to look up this Proxmire, right? The Proxmire Amendment, right? You need to look that up, the Proxmire Amendment, because this is letting you know this is how the FDA get away with a lot of stuff. This is how they get away with a lot of stuff. So I brought those situations up to show you how this shit go. And I hope it makes a lot of sense. So they do not get involved with certain things, okay? So again, when it comes to the SG, right? When it comes to this company, any seafood that's imported, this is when the regulations come. But if you're getting your seafood directly from the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, it's really no regulations on that shit. How much of the mercury can be actually inside the food, okay? Very important to understand. Very important to understand. What I was gonna say. Now, the reason for that is this, and I'm not even gonna read all this. So I'm gonna just read this part right here, what it says. It says, by expressing the advice in terms of recommendations for weekly intake of fish based on the RFD, okay. What it says is the agencies aim to help consumers reduce exposures to mercury. So that's basically all they're doing. So they're basically telling you this: look, I'm not for the ban the mercury because it's not a drug. I'm not for the ban it. It just so happened that it's inside the fish. It's inside the seafood. I'm not finna ban it. What I will do, this is why I say the FDA is not your friend. What I will do, I will help you. Okay, I will help you exercise your right to eating. Okay, I will tell you the safely recommended amount. Okay, I will tell you the safely recommended amount, and I will give you, certain guidelines and things of that nature. But I am not for the ban the mercury, even though we know in high amounts of it, in high levels of it, right? High levels of it, even though we know it's toxic as hell, right? It would shatter your nervous system. Okay, they not for the ban. This is why I say, when y'all doing y'all research on this stuff, understand when you do research on a particular product, on a particular item, and you see that the FDA say it's safe, you have to understand that these people don't really get involved with too much of this stuff. So you have to do your due diligence by doing your research and your searching. You got to look for independent researchers. Okay, you got to look for independent scientists that's backed up by nonprofit organizations that's actually help funding and putting this information out here. Remember, your top universities, every time you go to research something, you search something, and they say that, oh, the University of California, such and such and such. When it says that, you got to understand that the biotech companies, they fund these colleges. Okay, but by them funding these colleges is certain rules and regulations. They cannot tap into certain information, or they will lose their fundings. Understand this. They will lose their fundings. So a lot of this information that's put out, okay, is regulated literally by the FDA, because they know they're in control of these universities because they fund the universities. Understand that. So when you're doing your research, you have to look for independent research. You have to look for these independent scientists that's putting out this information that you will barely see on the internet. Okay, so when you see something say medical MD, when you see something like that, you got to understand that this information is funded by the companies themselves that want to sell you this shit. Okay, that's in it for the profit. Okay, understand, it's very important to understand. So a lot of the independent research that's done by these scientists, they are only funded by nonprofit organizations. So a lot of times they don't have the pull, they don't have the resources, they don't have the money to get certain articles published and that can reach the mass media. Okay, understand that it's very important to understand. So this is why you don't know. So you could look up something and the FDA says deemed to be safe, but in all actuality is not, because they don't get involved with things other than drugs. They don't do it. And again, if the drug is for their agenda, guess what? They're gonna approve the shit and tell you it's safe anyways. We live in a very, very deception world, a deceiving world, right? These people are very, very cruel. Okay, so let me get back to it because I'm passionate about this stuff. Y'all share this video. So it say, by expressing the advice in terms of recommendations and for weekly intake of fish based on the RFD, the agency aimed to help consumers reduce exposure to mercury while also enabling them to achieve the health benefits from eating fish. We describe the equations, right, and result for determining which fish we place in each category below. Okay, so the thing is this is what they're telling you. Look, nigga, we know you can benefit from eating this fish, so we're not going to ban it, even though it can contain high levels of mercury in it. We're not going to regulate it. We're not going to say that, okay, because it has 0.13 amount of mercury in it, that you can't eat it. We're not going to do that, because at the end of the day, we know that what it says. We know that you achieve, let me highlight this shit. We know that you achieve the benefits from eating the fish. So they rather you eat the fish, and because it got some bullshit benefits, okay, you can eat as much as you fucking want, and you can be also poisoned at the same time. So you got the mercury levels being high in certain fishes or certain seafood, But because of the benefits that you can get from it, they not fit to get in the way of that. All they're gonna do is guide you and help you, you know, to safely intake this shit. So if you don't do your research, you won't know this. But I'm here to tell you this stuff. Okay. So basically, what it is this: it's up to you. It's up to you to monitor how much of this shit that you eat. So if you want to follow trends, okay, if you want to follow trends, and you're not really taking into consideration that the FDA don't really care. They're not for to stop certain fishes or certain seafood. I keep saying fishes because that's the first thing that comes to my fucking mind. But if you don't, if you want to eat the crab, you want to eat the lobsters, you want to eat the shrimp, you want to eat the fish, the salmon, you gotta understand that this food has mercury in it, okay? And that is very vulnerable, or you're more vulnerable if you are a pregnant woman, breastfeeding, or an infant or a child. So y'all want to give y'all kids this shit, and y'all not listening to what the FDA say. Let me go back to this photo. What they say, it's safe to eat 2 to 3 times a week for these, but this is the amount of mercury that's inside this shit. Okay. So if you want to sit up here and eat from this list, when it comes to the red snapper, because you talking about red snapper good, right? When you want to eat from that shit, and remember again, and I forgot that I failed to mention this early on in the video. I'm sorry, my bad. Another reason why we eat is because of seasonings. But y'all have to understand, you can season the hell out of any food. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. You can season the hell out of any food and make it taste good. Okay? A chicken without seasoning is not going to taste good. A fucking steak without seasoning is not going to taste good. Understand this. We're addicted to this food because of traditional, the traditional way of doing things. And that's pretty much all we see on every corner, especially in the black community or a black neighborhood that's mostly populated by black people. Okay. This is the reason, because it's inescapable. It's like everywhere. So every time you turn around, you feel me? You drive to a corner, it's a McDonald's, it's a Burger King, it's this, it's that. Okay. This is all by design, people. This is why there's no Whole Foods in the hood. This is why most of your Publix is on the outskirts. It's all by design. They want you to eat this shit because they know this shit will harm you. Okay? So it's up to you. They're not fit to get in the way. So if you want to sit up there and eat a fucking mackerel and you see that it says not recommended to eat because the fucking mercury is in it, is highly toxic, then that's on you. You want to eat tuna all day? Talk about let me get tuna because tuna got protein and it's gonna make me strong. Yeah, it's gonna make your ass sick too. So if you want to eat this shit, that's on you. So if you want to keep eating the goddamn lobster, you want to keep eating the crab, you want to keep eating this damn shrimp, you want to keep eating the calamari, the salmon, you want to keep eating this stuff, then that's on you. But I'm telling you, the FDA told your ass, if you eat this shit more than 2 to 3 times a week, that's on you. And then we don't make it no better because we go put corn with it, with GMO. So you eating more toxins. And then you eat the potatoes, and potatoes got phytates in it that rob your ass from your iron and other important minerals. And then we run around wondering why we sick. We run around wondering why we sick. I'm telling you, man. If you don't do your due diligence, if you don't do your research, you don't do your search, you will never understand this stuff. The FDA is not gonna get involved. They didn't did their part. Their part was telling you what's safe to eat throughout, the week, certain times. Okay, 2-3 times a week. That's what they telling you. They're not banning the seafood because a shark, or well, we don't eat sharks. White people eat sharks and shit. They're not banning the damn king mackerel because it's highly toxic, because it has high amounts of mercury in it. They're not banning it. They're not banning the lobster because it has 0.93 mercury in it. They're not banning it because of that. They can care less. It's on you. And if you feeding this shit to your kids, they're more vulnerable, more susceptible to that shit. Okay? If you feeding this shit, if you breastfeeding, you eating this shit, you are putting your child, okay, in harm's way. Just understand this. Just understand that. It already said it. It already said it. Okay? It already said it. Oh, I don't even know why I went that way. It says it right here. If therefore it makes sense to choose those seafoods with a minimum concentration of mercury, bearing in mind that children and pregnant, okay, or breastfeeding women are particularly vulnerable. So it's on you. So if your ass want to be you want to follow, go right ahead. Go right ahead. If you want to, this shit telling you to stop, to only eat it 2 to 3 times a week, which I feel is bullshit anyways. It's bullshit anyways, because you don't need the shit. Because the main properties that you're getting out of it, you can find it, okay, in other foods. And I'm gonna prove this, right? I'm gonna prove this at the end of this video. So you really don't need the shit. You just eating it because it's something that's trendy. It's other people doing it, so you doing it, and you think that it tastes oh so good, not even knowing that they use this mercury that tricks the brain into believing this shit is good or better than what it really is. It's an enhancer. That's what it does. It enhances the flavor. Okay? The Asians run that shit over here. The Asians run that shit over here. Okay? And when the Asians brought it over here, guess what happened? Autism. Autism started popping up. A neurological disorder, a neurological disease. I believe that because of the mercury and because of the MSG, this is what leads to your chronic diseases like your Alzheimer's and dementia. This stuff is no joke out here, family. You gotta make better decisions and wiser decisions. You really don't need this shit. If it's just because the taste and the trend, you have no control of yourself. You have no control of yourself. You're a slave to this shit. All right. So that's it. I don't have to dread that anymore. Okay. I didn't dread it enough. So it's on you. If you want to eat this shit 5 times a week, 6 times a week, and you want to eat between the different seafoods, the shrimp, calamari, you want to eat all that stuff, just know you flirting with a neurological disease. You're flirting with that. Okay. You're putting yourself in the mix of that shit. Just know that. Just know that when your nervous system start fucking up, when your ass can't, when your memory go bad and things of that nature, just know that it could be because of this. Just know that. All right, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Okay. What I wanted to show you guys. Okay. All right. So last but not least, this is taking a lot of energy. So last but not least, you don't have to, it goes back to this. You don't have to eat this shit. You're not going to miss anything. You don't have to, you like I explained earlier, and I'm going to go back to it for the people who just joined. Outside of the omega-3, the eicosapentaenoic acid, okay, eicosapentaenoic acid, outside of that, you eat it, and I'm going to be fair with y'all. You eat it for the fat, the protein, the vitamins, and the minerals, right? All this bullshit about it promotes heart health. Wow, how? It's saturated in fat like it's crazy, okay? All this bullshit, guess what? You don't need that. You can take one particular product, okay? And I'm going to show you right now. Damn, where it went? You can take one product in particular and get it. Listen, again, the krill, the small fishes, they eat the sea moss. This is why sea moss is highly promoted. Skip the middleman, go straight to the source. They eat. This is how they get the omega-3s, and this is how they get the nutrients, because they eat the sea moss, right? Go to Alkaline Environment right now, get your sea moss, stop playing. And then they eat the phytoplankton. They eat the phytoplankton. Go look this up. This is what they eat. So they eat sea vegetables. That's what the fishes eat. This is what the krill eat. They eat sea vegetables. So in my journey, I said to myself, okay, I understand that the shrimps are the cockroaches of the sea. Okay. And aside, I ain't even bringing this up. And aside from the goddamn mercury, aside from the MSG. They are loaded. Most of this stuff is loaded with parasites. Come on, man. We shouldn't be eating this shit. And shrimp, oh yeah, they are the cockroaches of the sea because they are. Their purpose is to eat the bacteria, the bad bacteria, and the trash and shit. This is how shrimps eat. So when you eat the shrimp, this is what you're eating. Woo! You don't need it, family. Trust me. Like it should be. I'm gonna be fair with y'all because I love to be fair with y'all. I love to be fair with y'all. All right. It should be a what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for, Trees? When you do things for no, when you do things like how religion folks, they would eat. I forgot the word I'm looking for. When they would eat, somebody help me in the comments. They would eat like how to I think it's the Muslims, if I'm not mistaken. Like once a year they'll eat. What's the word I'm looking for, man? Ritual? No, it's not a ritual. I can't think of the word right now. They would eat things for certain reasons. Okay, so if anything, basically what I'm saying is this. Okay, so you would if you're gonna eat it, I think that you should eat it in the terms of okay, like once a year. It's something that you do once a year. Okay, like for example, I think it's New Year's when the Haitians they cook the seafood. Yeah, it's like they cook seafood for that 1 year, like yeah, like it's a traditional dish. So they'll eat the seafood for that 1 year. That's how I think you should go about it. It shouldn't be something that you do every day, because you're only putting yourself in harm's way. So it should be something that you do. You feel me? Once a year, maybe twice a year, and then you detox your fucking body. Because most people don't detox. Most people just eat whatever the fuck they want, and all these toxins accumulate, and they won't detox their body. That's another reason that you shouldn't be eating stuff. If you know you don't detox, okay, twice, 3 times, 4 times a year, you shouldn't be eating this food. Because all you're going to do is continue to accumulate toxins and put more harm on your body. All right. So it should be a traditional dish that you do like once a year, twice a year. Okay. That's the only way I see that you should consume it. So I'm going to be fair with y'all. I'm going to give y'all that. Right. But in all actuality, you don't need it. You can take one product in particular and get everything that the seafood supposed to offer without the additional things like the mercury, right? The mercury and all this other stuff. Now, this is phytoplankton. Right? It's safe for mammals. We are considered mammals, right? Don't y'all agree? We are considered mammals. And just like I showed y'all, the nutritional value in so-called fish is also in phytoplankton. So along my journey, when I discovered this stuff, I was like, okay, well, I don't need it. Because if I have to eat seafood for brain food, but also consider the fact that I might be harming myself by, eating mercury that may damage my damn central nervous system, then to me that makes no sense. I don't want to put myself in harm's way by trying to gain something. You feel me? But at the same time, I'm harming myself. It's a tug of war. That's crazy. So you got the amino acid profile, right? Which is complete protein, because it has all 9 of your essential amino acids, which completes your protein. So there you go with your protein right there. So you don't need the fish for the protein. Sorry. And then you got your lipids. Lipids are basically fatty acids. Okay, they're responsible for cellular signaling. They're responsible for what else? Energy storage and things of that nature. Okay, that's what your lipids are for. And then you got your fatty acids. Okay, now again, what I told you earlier was that predominantly you're eating the fish for the omega-3. So right here at the bottom, you can see right here at the bottom. Can I highlight this? I don't think I can highlight it. At the bottom, you see the omega-3 content, eicosapentaenoic acid. Okay, now this is key. This is what you want to understand. In a SAD diet, the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, like I reiterate all the time, the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, it favors the omega-6s. So that means that most of the food that you eat is high in omega-6s. Omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. So when you eat this, the SAD diet, you're promoting the or should I say you're just, you know, just overriding the body with the omega-6s. So the ratio should be in favor of the omega-3s. But hey, unfortunately, with the SAD diet, it's not. So in the phytoplankton, it's the opposite. As you can see, the fatty acid is 35, okay? 35.35, well, 35, right? And then you got the omega-6 at 4.2. So right then and now, you can see the ratio, it favors the omega-3. So it's more omega-3s, in other ways, in layman's terms, it's more omega-3s than it is omega-6s. But in the SAD diet, the omega-6s would represent the 35, and the omega-3 will represent the 4. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Okay. So what happens is when you take the phytoplankton, you get in the omega-3s, okay, in a high level, and this is balancing out the omega-6. So it's more anti-inflammatory going on, right, than it is the pro-inflammatory. So it trumps the pro-inflammatory. Okay, that makes sense. So that's what's going on. So you don't need the fish for the omega-3s. You don't need it. You can take phytoplankton and you can get it. Now, when it comes to the mineral content, you got the minerals: potassium, calcium, phosphorus, iron, manganese, magnesium, sodium, zinc, sulfur, right? All your essential minerals. You don't need it. Chlorophyll. You're not going to get no fucking chlorophyll out of no fish. Sorry. And chlorophyll cleanses the blood. Okay? You're not getting that. You got carotenoids, right? Antioxidants. Beta-carotene, B-carotene, right? Antioxidant. Keeping away free radicals. Keeping the cells from becoming abnormal. You're not getting that in fish. Sorry. Right? You got the vitamins. You got vitamin C, E, B1, B2, B6, B8, B9, B12. You ain't getting that in fish. So you can take 1 gram of the phytoplankton, 1 gram of this shit, and you can get all this in 1 gram. And another thing is this. I could go on and on with this shit. Y'all don't even understand it. Fish rots in your stomach. Fish is the most, how can I even say this? But you leave a fish out in the sun for 1 day and you go back to it and it's going to be completely rotten. So what you think is doing in your stomach? If you got a jacked up digestive system, what you think it's doing? It's going to rot in your shit. Okay. Another thing, you're not going to absorb all of it in the first place. You're not going to do that. That's the benefit from taking the damn phytoplankton. The phytoplankton is 99% bioavailable. So you don't have to worry about it digesting. It goes right into the blood. It's absorbed right into the blood as soon as you take it. It's almost like getting a fucking shot. Yes. That's what it's about. Okay? So it's going to get straight to the blood and it's going to start doing its work. It don't have to wait all day to be broken down, processed. It don't have to do that. That's another advantage it has over the seafood. So again, it's really no reason to eat it. We just do it because it's trendy. We just do it because of the taste, so forth and so on. But it's really no reason to eat the shit. So you get everything in the phytoplankton that the fish eat in the first place. Sorry for yelling at y'all. I'm sorry. I apologize. But as I conclude, right? Listen, man, we eat good over here. Okay? We eat good over here. Listen, when we went to West Palm for the Queen birthday for her solar return, we ate good. I'm gonna leave y'all with this, right? That right here. Listen, let me blow this up. So listen, man, stop playing with y'all. Right? You can still eat some of your foods, man. This little yellow rice stuff, man. Come on, man. This jackfruit right here. This jackfruit in the oxtail form, right? Jackfruit. Okay, it can be your substitute for meat. This is plantains. Fire. Look at this salad, man. Fire. Look at the what look like ground beef. What they make it out of? Sunflower seeds, right? Dehydrated sunflower seeds. Make it look like it's meat, but it's not. It's plant-based. This cheese, plant-based. Huh? You can use walnut. Look at this. Look at this cheese. This plant-based cheese. That's cashew. Okay, cashew nuts. Made into what it looked like cheese. Come on, man. Then you can still eat your little starches, your little potato every now and then. And then in the middle was this what it was called? What? The what is this? This was the jackfruit, the chichons, I think it was the chichons. That
which one?
This right here.
That's ceviche. That's the hearts of palm.
Oh yeah, that's the hearts of palm. Okay, that's the hearts of palm. Ceviche. Okay. And then you had the aki right here that was made out of a scrambled aki. That's a replacement for eggs, and also they make tacos with it. Food was delicious. And what made it fire? The seasonings.
You show the Sancho,
man, listen, I just went on Facebook. I ain't had too much on my Facebook. I should have pulled on my Instagram. But you know,
Dominican
I should have put on my IG.
Sancho stew.
But
that was with the mushrooms, the hearts of palm, the carrots.
Yeah.
I think it was
and the thing is, the food was inexpensive, okay? So it's not gonna rape your pockets.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all spend 120 at Prime. Y'all go to Prime 112 and spend $200-300. I be seeing y'all receipts.
Grand Lux.
I be seeing them. Not the Grand Lux. The what's the other one? When they have all the steaks and stuff.
That's Prime. What Prime have that?
The Ruth Chris.
Tap 42 or something.
Ruth Chris.
Oh yeah, Ruth. Yeah.
That one. Listen, man, I be seeing y'all receipts. Y'all ain't fooling me. So if y'all can spend that amount of money on that food, y'all can spend that amount of money in less.
Them seafood spots,
right? Yeah, them seafood spots with crafty crabs, all that shit. I be seeing y'all receipts. Paying fucking $30 for a plate of damn seafood. So if y'all can spend that on that, y'all can spend it. Y'all could go and support these vegan companies, vegan restaurants. You feel me? All over Florida and Miami, and eat some good food. Go to Planta. Go to Love Life Cafe. Go to Vegetarian Delight. Go to Miss Hope. Who else we got? We got Holy Vegan. You got Angelica Taste in West Palm. Okay. You got Reggae Beats, the food truck. You got New Vegan.
Organic Food Kings.
Organic Food Kings. Who else you got? You got come on, it's some more out there. It's some more out there. Hey, what a charge at? This shit about to go. Let's go there. You got who else you got? You got Juicy's. This is where this food come from. Juicy's in West Palm Beach. Raw vegan. I already New Vegan. New Vegan. You got who that is up there in by the airport, by Fort Lauderdale Airport, where we always go to.
Green Bar.
Green Bar. You got Green Bar. Who else you got? You got
Go to Bolay.
You got Bolay.
They have options.
Right? You got Bolay. Who else you got? You got
Tropical smoothie.
Yeah. Who else you got? You got I'm trying to think.
Coconut. They have these options.
Yeah, coconut. They have, you could go there. There's some other places. Your boy Maul Eats. Maul Eats on IG. That boy do his thing. Chef Kofi, he do his thing. Man, listen, man, there's a lot of people out here doing it. So it's no excuse. Really no excuse. What we win at? Right now for 36? What it's called? Vegan Delights?
You talking about
the food truck we went to. Vegan Delights.
No, Natural Lick.
With the Hispanic dude.
That
we just ate. Organic Ends? Okay, yeah.
But also the food truck, Natural Lick. That's in like West Palm Beach, I think.
But yeah, Vegan Delight is another one though. So you got them.
Oh yeah, that's the sweets.
Yeah, you got them with the pastries and stuff.
Yeah, you got Vegan Parlor.
With the cakes and stuff like that. Yeah. So you got options. It's no excuse. It's no excuse, family. But yeah, man, we eat good over here. And it's just one photo of many other dishes the queen put down, and foods that we find out, out and about. So we good. We good. But I'm gonna leave y'all with this, man. I'm gonna leave y'all with a Bible scripture, right? One of my favorites. It says, what? God said, see, I give you every seed-bearing plant that is upon all the earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit, they shall be yours for food. The fruit of the trees whose seed shall be good for you. Hold on. Because y'all playing with me right now.
Oh, don't forget Tasty Creation.
Tasty Creation, that's another one. When she get things going, she do the little mobile now. Oh man. That is not what I was looking for. But y'all know that chapter that say that the plants for you should be your meat. So I want to leave y'all with that note. On that note. Okay, so that concludes this video. Family, listen, tonight at 6:30 I'll be back on, but y'all won't hear my loud voice, right? Y'all won't hear my loud voice. Y'all hear a more calmer, right? A more calmer voice, female voice. Y'all will have to deal with my ass being all loud and shit. But y'all tune in later tonight, man. 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. You feel me? We're gonna have Fifi on. She's gonna talk about what's holistic health. So she been doing the thing for a minute with her and her husband. They also show you how to get going with homeschooling, which I think is very imperative. Very important. So yeah. So I hope this video just added more value to what you already know. And like I say, man, digest it and dissect it, and you go for now. But I'll do it later. But yeah, listen, man, y'all take advantage of that sale right now, man. Take advantage of the sale. Don't play. Everybody pretty much left. But don't play. Do what y'all gotta do, man. Do what y'all gotta do. But yeah, man, that's it. I'm out, man. I'm gonna leave y'all with Mr. P, dog. Leave y'all with the big homie, man, Mr. P. Where Mr. P at? Mr. P, where you at? Hey.
Oh no, ma'am. We're going to get that shot right now.
No, Mommy, I don't want to get a shot.
But Princess, you have to. It's the only way to protect your immune system.
Hold on, wait. Before you get that shot, there's another way. Mr. P is here to bring you the knockout tea.
The knockout tea? What is that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It strengthens your immune system, protects you from the cold and flu. It has all natural ingredients: organic elderberry, manuka honey, sea moss, ginger, clove, turmeric, and many more. And also, it's great for kids her age. Try it. You won't regret it.
This tastes amazing. I feel better already. Thank you, Mr. P.
No problem. It's my duty. And always remember, prevention is the best cure.